The sacred space you create in your home can make all the difference in the things you manifest in this lifetime and how absolutely amazing your life will truly be. Hi, it's Dr. Angela Kudger with Legacy Holistic Health Institute. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. We do hope you find something amazing in this video. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I do hope that you find something amazing in this video as well. All your likes, shares, subscribes, comments, all that great stuff means the absolute world to me. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to the health, the wellness, and spiritual journeys of women over 40. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that is so pivotal. It is your space, the place where you live and spend the majority of your time, the place where your body heals, rests, and digests. We're going to be talking about how to make your home a sanctuary and make it a place that is not just alluring to you, but even a place of respite for so many other people who might stop by. Now, if you're someone who already says you already have a sacred space, trust me, I'm going to probably share something in this video that's going to change how you look at sacred spaces. And if you're someone who doesn't have a sacred space, well, you're in luck, because we're going to cover quite a few things on how to actually create a space of balance. So if you haven't already yet, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up before I get ready to jump into the content. Go ahead right now. Hit the like. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and let's jump in. So when we're talking about creating a sacred space, there are quite a few things that you need to be aware of. Now, I'm going to try to go in order to make sure that I don't forget anything. I am known for having a sacred space. When people come to visit me, and it is not a lot of people who get to come to my home or to visit me, but when they do, they always feel welcome. They always fall asleep. No matter what's going on, they always feel like they can just be themselves, relax, and take a load off. For whatever reason, they always feel like that. Well, I like to liken it to the fact that I try my best to create a place of rest at home. Now, I work from home, and I've been working from home full time since probably about 2017. So it's been imperative that I take my time and create a space that not only allows me to have a clear head to be able to be creative and work in my business, but it also allows me to create a space of rest so that when it is time to turn the entrepreneurship off, I'm able to do that and actually rest, relax, and enjoy my home or my space. Now, I will say this because I think it is important to this video. I am one of those people who moves around a lot. Yes, I've lived at several residences, you guys, over the past probably 20 years. I may have lived at more than 10 different addresses. I know. I like to create a certain kind of space, and I like to experience a certain kind of space. And I'm going to move again at some point, probably in the spring. And so, or in the summer is when I'm projecting to move. Definitely no later than the fall, but probably in the summer quarter, right? June, July, August, somewhere in there, I'll probably end up moving again. And it's because every time I decide that I want some kind of amazing or different space, or want to experience a different kind of space, and in this case, I want to spend a little bit of time outside of the US to recover, regroup, that's why I'm moving again. And so you decide what your space is going to be like, and you decide what your life is going to require. Never be afraid to do what is necessary to create a sacred space, and never be afraid to do what is necessary to move to a different space if you have to. All it takes is real intention and then putting your hands to work towards the goal that will create the space. Now, I will say this. Every single time I moved, I donated the furniture. In some cases, I sold it, donated the furniture, and got all new furniture. Yes, you're probably like, what? Because I like to experience certain kinds of spaces. And if I feel like I want something different, in this lifetime, I feel like I can have it. And so, yes, I'm planning on selling some things in my home, donating quite a few things. And I think that's one of the reasons why the universe always pours out to me when it's time for me to create another sacred space, because I'm going to dedicate my home to God. I'm going to dedicate the space to the Most High, and I'm going to be grateful for that new space. But I'm also going to make sure that everything that I receive in some kind of way and in gratitude, I pay it forward. So, for example, I donated my last furniture before I moved here. I donated my last furniture to people who had just moved. They didn't have any furniture, they didn't have a way to get any furniture. And I went ahead and donated those things to them. You decide how you want to live, how you want to be, and all of those different things. This is what I choose to do. But every single time I move, I make sure that I set up sacred space, and I make sure that I do it as quickly as possible. So now let's talk a little bit about how we actually do that. So the first thing you're going to do is, number one, you're going to know the number and the overall energy of the home. Now, you're probably like, what does that have to do with anything? Well, a lot, actually. So if you've ever studied numerology, especially if you're someone who's seeing numbers, you know that your house carries a certain number and the numbers carry a certain energy. In addition to that, certain numbers also correspond with certain colors, and certain colors actually bring about a certain kind of energy in the home. So, for example, probably the last one, two, probably the last three homes I've lived in, including, let me see, including this home. So the last three homes that I've lived in, and including this one, have all been 7 homes, right? And the way that you find the number is you add up the digits to the number. If you're living in an apartment where the complex has a number and your apartment has a number to it on your actual suite or your door, then you're going to add up those numbers. And you're going to keep adding those numbers up until they get to a single digit. So, for example, my previous address was 1000 was the number for the complex, but my apartment was 3301. So 3 plus 3 plus 0 plus 1 is 7. The overall energy was a 7 home. If you do not know this, 7 homes are deeply spiritual homes. You have great awakenings in these kinds of homes. You have the ability to have deeper spiritual gift development in these homes. So it's no wonder I'm on YouTube talking about these kinds of things, right? I've developed these things over the past few years, and even in the spaces that I lived. I've been able to gain great insight when it comes to business and things to do in business. I've been able to move more towards alignment and out of the grind mode that a lot of people are in. Now I'm ready to move out of the country because of the grinding that happens here and the way of life that happens here, right? And so you want to make sure that you understand the overall energy of the home. I also know that I've lived in a 5 home before, and 5 homes are fast paced. 5 is a number of rapid sweeping change. So relationships come and go in a 5 home. Money comes and goes in a 5 home, right? So every home and every number has a certain energy that is full of pros, and each house does have a few cons. So like, say for instance, if you're someone who you add the numbers up and you keep reducing them and they end up being a 1. 1 houses have to do with singularity. It's very challenging to keep a marriage together in a 1 house. It's very challenging to keep a relationship together in a 1 house, or to date and start a new relationship in a 1 house. You have to put other elements in the house to change the number or change the energy. So it's just about being aware of these things so that you govern and move and govern yourself accordingly. So if you're looking to shift, and you can go online and look at house numerology as well, because one of the other things that we want to be aware of is that you don't just choose a home. Homes actually choose you too. The energy of specific homes and places of business, and this could be for your business office as well, they choose us too when we're ready for a certain level of development. Homes choose us. It's no wonder I end up with a 7 house for the past few years, right? And so You want to make sure, and these go all the way up from 1 to 9. So you want to be aware of the overarching energy of the home itself. And that energy comes from the number on the house. Now, when you understand the number on the house, you're also, when you research this, it will also tell you what colors, what color themes, what color schemes go well in that particular number house. And then you can start to get things, because you don't want to decorate, a specific kind of house that needs bold colors in black and white. Right? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure, and if you do, you want to have splashes of those bold colors in different places to balance out the energy or the overarching energy of the home. Now, for every con that comes along with a number, you can always do something to reverse it. In addition to that, you can shift the overall energy of the home by writing a number next to your house number outside, not in a permanent marker or anything like that. You can write it in something that's wipeable so that when or if you move, you can wipe it off. But if you write a number beside it, it will change the number of the home. So say, for example, you're someone who wants to be an influencer. The number 9 is huge for the growth of influencers, entrepreneurs, and people who are highly purpose driven. So if you live in a 9 house, it's no wonder you're probably maybe can't keep a job. You keep itching to start your own thing. That's the energy of the home you live in. And if you were to start something, it will probably be wildly successful. So you want to make sure, because you're in that space, you want to make sure that you understand the overall energy of your home and how to then set the space up for that based on colors, based on different things. So in a 7 house, I have Buddha, pictures of Buddha, statues of Buddha throughout my house. I have a waterfall or large stone water fountain in my living room. There's a lot of different elements that I have that bring out the beauty of this particular house, with it being a 7 house as well. The other thing that you want to do is, now that you understand a little bit about the energy or the overarching energy of the house, you also want to understand how to balance it out with other things that make sense. Now, you can use feng shui for this. You can look at house numerology for this, and you could still get the information that you're looking for and be able to do what it is you need to do for your home. But you also want to make sure that you're understanding where the money corner is, or where the spiritual corner is for your ancestor altar, or what's the where which way does the house face? Does it face north, south, east, west? You want to understand these things so you understand how to then balance these elements out. Now, there are other things in feng shui that also make sense for us to be able to learn to balance out. One of those things in particular that I'll never forget, because I always do this. Now I don't, because I don't have a mirror in my bedroom. I don't have, so two different kinds of things that are usually not in my bedroom. One is a large electronic device like a television. No, I do not keep a television in my bedroom. The electromagnetic waves throw off your sleep. And if you do have one, or if you do have one connected to certain things like surround sound and things like that, you want to go ahead and unplug that for the evening so that you can sleep well. Okay. Now, the other thing that I don't have in my bedroom is a mirror facing the bed. So some people might have their bed, and then they might have their chest of drawers or their dresser, and then they'll have a mirror that's affixed, or that comes with it, that's affixed to the top of it. Well, I never use those in my home. And when I learned about this, mirrors are basically portals. And so, especially when you live in a spiritual home, or when you're on a spiritual journey or a spiritual awakening, you may have some different encounters with other things. And mirrors are like portals where things can pass through. You can look this up. You can Google it. And so I do not keep a mirror. When you keep a mirror facing the bed, with the reflection of the bed in it, it's almost like an invitation for that portal to be open, especially if you light a candle in front of the mirror, and you're just sitting in your room. No. So I don't keep a mirror in my room at all. There is one in the bathroom and it's on the same wall as the headboard. So I can't see it. And then of course I have the barn sliding doors in my bedroom, so like so I don't have a door that like has a knob to it basically. And so I don't see a mirror unless I get up and walk around to through another doorway, right? And so no mirrors, no electronic devices, but these are feng shui things. The other thing you want to look at is how your bed is facing. And so if your bed is facing with the feet to the door, meaning that this is the foot of your bed and the doorway is here, right? That is called the coffin position for whatever reason. And you never want your bed that way. You want to either put the bed, if this is the doorway, you want to put the bed catty corner so your feet are like here or there, or you want to turn the bed all together so that your feet are not facing the doorway at all, if that makes sense. So you don't want someone to open your bedroom door and the first thing they see is your feet, kind of like someone laying in a coffin or something like that. You don't want to do that. So that's another no. The other thing is stairs. When you first walk into the house, stairs have the ability to allow energy movement in and out of the house. And when you first walk into a home and the first thing you see are the stairs, you want to make sure you have a mirror either along the wall or a mirror somewhere near that wall so that it's reflecting. So say if this is the front door, right? This is the front door and you step through the front door and these are the stairs, right? I'm the outside. I open the door and I step into the house and these are the stairs, right? If this is the front door, there needs to be a mirror right up here above the front door. I hope that makes sense. So if this is the front door, right? Let me move my mic. Um, if this is the front door and these are the stairs, when I open the door, I see the stairs and I walk in, there needs to be a mirror above the front door. Got it? So that the mirror is facing the stairs. I hope that makes sense. And it reflects the energy back into the house. That's what you want to look at. And you want to make sure like you look these things up as well. There are other things you can put to shift the energy of the home, like plants and things like that. And we'll get into that. But you can always balance the house by understanding what corners and what areas of the house have to do with abundance, travel, spirituality. You want to make sure you're looking at something so that you've got a blueprint to your sacred space. Now, when it comes to feng shui, I am not one of those people that looks at every single area. No, I don't. I'm not one of those people that feng shui's out every single area. I don't have the time or energy, right? And so I do pick specific places to make sure though. So if I pick an office, I make sure the office is laid out accordingly. Or if I pick my bedroom, I make sure that my bedroom's laid out accordingly and with my son and so forth, right? But do I do feng shui in the kitchen? No. Do I do feng shui on the front porch? No. Do I do feng shui at the entryway? Yes. I put specific things at the entryway to make sure that when people come into the home, they automatically feel like this is where it's at, right? They feel good, they feel comfortable. And I never have to tell people, this is so strange because I always declare and decree my home as a sacred space, right? No matter where I'm going. And I always have amazing experiences, whether I'm renting, I've bought homes in the past, I've bought bought and sold several homes in the past. But I have always had really great relationships with landlords, realtors, because they know I'm going to take care of the place, or people who are selling the home because they know that there's a specific energy that I bring to taking care of the place and I truly enjoy it. And so when it comes to things like this, the other thing that I want us to be aware of is when we're looking at this, the other thing to be aware of is that I never have to tell people when I set sacred space, I never have to lay down any kind of rules or agreements in my home. When people come here, they automatically just take their shoes off. They just do. I never say, I'm a black home with a Chinese with an Asian custom. Take your shoes off, leave the energy of your feet and everywhere it has been at the front, outside the door. I never have to say that. People just do it. And for whatever reason, they just feel like they should do it. Like, this is where I can relax, and that's the home that I like to cultivate, right? The third thing that you want to do, besides balancing it out with that, is you want to balance your home with the elements. Now, when we're looking at this is where your stones, your water fountains, your diffusers, your essential oils, your all of that, feathers, potpourri, anything that you can think of that becomes an earth, air, fire, water, or ether, which is spiritual element. Make sure you put those things in your home, and you do them in accordance to what colors you think are going to match, or what you're being drawn to place into the home. Okay. Like for me, for this home, I was always drawn to put Buddha in some different places, right? Place even things that I didn't necessarily have at first. I just happened to like say, well, I'm gonna go out, and whatever I find or whatever I see that calls to me for this home, I'm gonna do that. If you're someone who is actually selling a home or trying to buy a home, you can actually speak or send energy to that home. You can actually speak to the home that you're in and say, you served me well. Believe it or not, they say homes have the ability to welcome you and release you. So for example, when I knew it was time for me to release a home, I just know it. Either my life is going to a different level and it requires a different kind of space, or in one case, I had so many issues with the home, and I remember being so frustrated, and my search for a new place was just not going well. And I eventually went home one day, and I started speaking to the house, and I said, "Listen, there's a lot going on with you, and I know it's not your fault. However, I want to let you know that I'm grateful that you served us in the capacity, me and my family and our friends, in the capacity that you have. Even as you are releasing us now, we are going to go forth and take care of the next home. My hope is that the next person that comes into this apartment, this home, this as the next tenant, takes care of you." And so I am just one of those people that believes the world is connected. It might sound crazy to some folks, but after that, out of nowhere, this place popped up, right? And this place was everything I needed and then some, right? Everything I needed and then some. So you decide how and when or what you want to do to create sacred space. I'm going to say a few things about what you should get into your home. For earth, you're definitely going to be looking at things like plants. Goes without saying. You can also look at things like feathers, potpourri, pine cones, anything that comes directly from the earth. Sand, water. Water is also a water element as well. A fountain, a diffuser is also a water element as well. You also want to look at things like air elements. So incense, right? Incense is not just about the smell that it leaves. After incense has been burning in a temple, the temple actually feels different. So you do not, I know there's tons of cheap incense out there, but you definitely want to find a brand that leaves the space feeling sacred when it is done, when it has finished burning, long after it has finished burning. You should be looking at how it actually leaves the space. Okay. Fire, you want to make sure that you have access to candles. You want to make sure that you burn them regularly, or you burn them for a few hours during the day. I spend a lot of time at home, so I love scented candles. I love burning them throughout the day, and I love using them. I love specific scents, right? So I have like an anti-stress candle. I have a candle that smells like the beach, if that's where I want to be. I have candles that smell like the holidays, if I want to get into the gingerbread, peppermint, pumpkin scent, right? Feeling of the holidays. I have candles that lift my spirits and bring me joy, that have hints of citrus and eucalyptus, right? So you have to decide what air element and fire elements and things you want in your space, and how those things are going to leave your space feeling different. Okay. And then ether also represents things from the etheric realm. So things that represent your deeper knowledge or your deeper levels of awakening and spirituality. The last thing I want to tell you to do is make sure that you cleanse the space regularly. You can have all these things in your space and they can still be, it could still be too cluttered. It could still be just not what it needs to be. In making sure that I maintain the energy here, I have housekeeping, right? So housekeeping comes in once every 2 weeks and they deep clean. So they clean everything. And in many cases, they're in and out within an hour because the space is so well kept. Between me and them and my son, we keep the space spick and span. Every now and then we got a few dishes, but in general, the space is extremely clean. I have a lot of white things, fluffy things in my home. It's very, very comfortable here. I have a lot of plush carpet and different things. I mix elements, so I will mix upholstery with leather, and so I mix different textures as well. You do the same. You find ways to mix things up in your home. I also never rush to decorate a home. Mm-mm. I never go to a store and necessarily buy, like, it has to really be banging, right? And buy like a whole set plus the pictures on the wall and all. I don't do that. It has to really be on point. So I have to look and see what pieces call to me. Like I might buy, like I've had furniture that's like the couch is velvet and the chair is leather, pieces that mix and match, right? Instead of everything being like all the same. So keep that in mind as well when you're putting things in your space. Make it feel good to you. And then I also choose pieces that can then be moved around when I need the space to feel different or rearranged and feel, a little bit different. And so you want to make sure that you're cleansing the space, not just from sweeping, mopping, dusting, kind of thing, decluttering, type of thing, but you also want to make sure that you're cleansing the space regularly with things like salt in the corners, incense, sage, Palo Santo. We want to make sure that we're looking at things like this so that our home and our sacred space and the energy of the space is preserved. It makes it much easier to pray and meditate and execute on amazing ideas. In my case, as an entrepreneur, it makes it so much easier to do that when the space is sacred and when the space has been cleansed and when the home itself is clean. When there's a cluttered space, there is a cluttered mind. It makes it challenging to think clearly, and it makes it challenging to sleep as well. The only other thing I'll say is, if you haven't already yet, make sure you click subscribe, comment on this video, and let me know the types of things that you love about your space, and let me know what number your home is. Add the numbers up in the comments and let me know what number your home is and what the overarching energy is. Before you leave, click like, share, and subscribe. Something like this.